A recent poll shows Louisiana voters want state lawmakers to focus on the budget and COVID-19. Well, here's Eyewitness News political analyst and Gambit columnist Clancy.
In a crisis, bad actors often make power grabs, knowing that people are distracted. That's happening right now. State lawmakers are racing to pass so-called tort reform bills. These bills promise to lower your insurance premium, but backers cannot name a single state where that has happened. Instead of reducing your premiums, these bills would increase insurance company profits by reducing your ability to be made whole after an accident. One bill sailed out of a Senate committee today, even though the Louisiana State Bar Association opposed it. The bar's opposition is a giant red flag. In a recent poll, only 3% of Louisiana's voters said tort reform is a priority right now. A combined 69% said the priorities are the budget and COVID-19. The voters are correct. Lawmakers should focus on the budget and COVID, then go home. And the governor should veto any bogus reform bills.